All right, welcome to another IELTS speaking practice video. So Miss Thư is here, and she's gonna start her IELTS practice with a part one. So let's try topic number 29 first. It's about sky and star or outer space. It's 29, right? Wait, we did this one already.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, 27 then. So it's about primary schools. So did you like your primary schools, Miss Thư?
Absolutely. I think I have a big love for
Had.
my
I had.
yeah, I had a big love for my primary school. Yeah, it was the school I first entered and I had really beautiful memories there.
Hmm. Okay. And what was your favorite subject at primary school? It's just a primary school, you know?
Well, I think that at my primary school, my favorite subject was art. Although I although I was not excellent at drawing, but
Hmm.
although I wasn't really excellent at drawing, art still had I still loved art as it. Mm, I feel like when I drew something, it made me feel really relaxed, and I can express my feelings through my drawings.
I see. So what did you dislike most about your primary school then?
Well, I think when I was at my primary school, I think I didn't really like my teacher.
Oh,
To be honest, I was really young and I was scared of my teachers because they always told me to be disciplined and do whatever they told me to
silence,
do.
right?
And yeah, and I didn't really like that.
Nobody likes to be told what to do, yeah. Even though when we were younger, we looked for guidance, but to be honest, after a while, I don't think anybody likes to be told what to do.
Yeah.
So, how did you travel to your primary school?
Well, I walked to my primary school because I lived pretty near my primary school was pretty near my house. So every morning I usually walk to my school with with my mother.
Mhm. And how were the teachers in your primary schools beside the one that you don't like?
Well, besides that, I think the teachers were really friendly. Sometimes I did get scolded, but
Oh.
I think it was pretty fair because I think I did something wrong, and also I think they helped me a lot to study and to become more confident for
Mhm.
for my future. So I think they were pretty awesome.
Mhm. I see. Friendly like me, I guess. Anyway, let's go to 28, which is relax. So, what do you do to relax?
Well, what do I do to relax? It depends on each day or each situation that I am in. For example, when I am in a good mood, I usually tend to relax by watching movies or listening to music or going
Mhm.
to the coffee shop with my friends. However, on the days when I feel upset, I usually relax by uh, I usually relax by read books or just stay at home and do nothing. I think that's my ways to relax.
I see. So, what do you think? Do you think doing exercise is a good way to relax?
Well, I think it can be a good way to relax as it I think doing exercise somehow it relieves your stress and
Release, are you sure?
relieve. Relieve.
Relieve your stress.
Yeah,
Very good.
relieve. Yeah, it relieves your stress and um, it can like you can burn your calories while doing exercise. So I think to some people, doing exercise can be an excellent way to relax.
Mhm. Okay, so do you think vacations are a good way for you to relax?
Definitely, I really love vacations. I feel like when I travel somewhere else rather than my own city or
Mhm.
my own house, it gives me a refreshing feeling and I feel extremely energetic after those vacations. Although, however, I don't really have the means to do this activity right now, but I hope in the future I can have more chances to go on vacations.
I see. Do you feel you need more time to relax?
Well, absolutely. Actually, right now I'm turning 18 and I have to face the biggest test of my life
Oh,
to go to university. So I have a very busy schedule. I have to study like all day, all night, and sometimes I feel a bit stressed. So definitely, I would like myself to have more free time to relax.
hmm. And especially when you're entering university.
Yeah,
Okay, enjoy the time being in university because you will have a lot of time doing barbecue and then hanging out with the friends, something like that. But as you enter the workforce, you will have much less time to relax, even way less time to relax after you have your first child, you know. So try to relax as much as you can now. So do you think people need more time to relax these days? I
yes, I think that. Yeah, you say something.
nothing, nothing.
Yeah, okay.
Do
Yeah,
you okay, do you think people need more time to relax these days? Because I do need more time to relax.
I do too. Well, yeah, I think yes, I think that people they do need more time to relax these days, because in this modern life, I think everybody is in a hurry. They always have to be hurried in every situation because I think they're saying that time is gold and everybody has to be, you know, really busy with their work, and sometimes they do not have enough time for themselves and for their families.
Mhm.
So, and sometimes this can lead to some mental health mental illnesses like
Of course,
such
these
as
things are very common in the Vietnamese society these days, It's just going to get worse if people don't pay attention to that. Now, so let's go to part two and part three now. So that's 27 and 28. Okay, good. So far, so good. You did well.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Now, so topic number 7 actually repeats the same part 3 here. So just need to do like this one. Describe a home that you like to visit, but you do not want to live in. Maybe it's because it's a beautiful house, but it's too big for you to stay for a long time. Visiting and living in there, living in a place and visiting it is a totally different thing. They're two totally different things. Like, for example, you like to visit your brother or sister's home, but you wouldn't want to live in there, for example. You should say where it is, what it is like, why you like to visit it, and explain why you would not like to live there. Okay, you have some time now. All right, please describe a home that you would like to visit, but you do not want to live in. Let's start with this one.
Well, a home that I really like to visit but do not want to live in is actually my cousin's house.
Hmm.
I visited it. Actually, he just bought it. He has just bought it recently, and it is a really big house. It's located in the center of Hanoi City, which is the capital of my country. And the house is really spacious. With, as far as I remember, it has a fancy master bedroom. And on the roof, when I stand on the roof of the house, I can see the view of Hanoi City.
Mhm.
And I really like that. However, the reason why I do not want to live there is probably because it's too big it and sometimes it's the transport, the traffic annoys me too much because it's located in the center. So because the house is too big, I think I will have a difficult time going around the house and cleaning and do the other things in the house, and I think it will cause me a lot of trouble. Moreover, because it's in the center, so the traffic is extremely bad. Remember, when I got to the house, it took me a long time to actually get in the house. So I think living in a house like that wouldn't be my first choice to make about living in a. So yeah, that's a place that I want to visit but do not want to live in.
I see. Okay, so that's about number 7. Would you like to try number 8 now? Describe a time when your computer broke down. Maybe it's good to try it.
Yeah.
Describe a time when your computer broke down. You should say when it was, what you were doing by then. And then suddenly your computer broke down, something like that. Broke down mean it does not work anymore. It doesn't mean it's malfunctioned, okay?
Yeah.
Malfunction means it's still working, but it doesn't work as you want it to be, okay? To break down, if a computer breaks down, it means it does not even turn on or something like that. So what you did about it and explain how you felt about it. So, just to clarify. So if you want to say the word malfunction, it means it still works somehow, but not as good as you wanted it to be. Like it always do something else. Like for example, if you press enter, it doesn't bring you to another paragraph or something. It doesn't function. It doesn't function like you want it to be. That is malfunction. Hoạt động sai. It's different from breakdown. Okay, so part 3 of computers. What kinds of people use the computer more? So think about different types of people. Like think about their personality, you know? Does extrovert people use computer more? I don't think so. Maybe introverts. Think about their professions. Think about their interests, like what they're interested in. Like for example, if people has an interest in, let's say, investment, they probably will work a lot with computer, with their iPads, looking at like if people do stock, if people do stock, chơi chứng khoán, they will have to use computer and their phones a lot too. Think about students, think about gamers, of course. I think you do games. That's how you learn a lot. And also talk about like what kind of activities they can use computer for. And you can also mention the fact that the people, there are people who does not use computer a lot. Like, for example, people who work with their hands a lot, manual laborers, technicians. Sometimes, people who work with their hands a lot, they don't work with computer that much. Like if you are a doctor, a nurse, or if you are what's it called? A dentist. You work with your hand all day and you only peek at the computer screen for a while, something like that. Okay, so do people living in modern countries use a computer more than those living in developing countries? Once again, a controversial question because it depends a lot. But think about the living conditions. Think about the living conditions in modern countries. Of course, buying computers in modern countries is going to be cheaper because they import more models and with higher quantities. It's like they import a huge amount of computers, laptops into that modern countries. But when in developing country, because the demand is not that much for new computers, so that's why they import with lower quantity. I'm talking about like number, họ sẽ nhập khẩu với cái số lượng nhỏ hơn cho nên giá thành nó đội lên. They import with a lower quantity of laptops, for example, so that's why the price increases. Well, developing countries like Vietnam suffer from one thing. The people, they do not have enough money to just buy new items all the time, They don't have that money. So sometimes they just buy a computer, and then use it for like 10 years or even a little bit more until it can no longer work. That's how people do. I mean, yeah. And of course, the longer you use your computer, the more it will slow down and it decrease productivity. Of course, nó giảm sức lao động sản xuất xuống. Of course it does. Think about that. But the question here, they talk about, do they use it more or not? Okay. Now, what are the methods to prevent children from playing computer or phone games? You should think about it. And do you think that it is bad to play computer games? Are there any benefits? Okay, I can give you some ideas now. Playing computer games helps people to, how can I say, to connect to people around the world. Actually, you already have a common hobby, that is gaming. So when you connect to people around the world, it's actually easier to keep that connection, to keep those friends, Bởi vì mình có sẵn một cái hobby là chơi game rồi. Yeah, because you have a common hobby. You have a common hobby already, that is gaming. And so basically someday those connections can help you. They can be helpful. And you learn how to teamwork in a game, of course, because some games require players to work together in order to achieve a particular goal with their team, with their teammates. So they learn to teamwork. And think about the fact that gamers actually do better in math. Thật sự là họ chơi vi tính là làm toán nhanh hơn á, làm toán tốt hơn á. They actually do better in math according to science. But besides from that, gaming is just like entertainment, of course. After so many hardworking hours, many hours of hard work in school, something like that. But of course, everything, if you overdo it, is become bad. You should talk about it, like health benefits. Does it harm their social connections? Does it harm their social relationships in any way? Okay, does computer technology benefit mankind in any way? Công nghệ vi tính có đem lại lợi ích cho loài người ở bất kỳ cách nào không? Think about production. Think about quality control. Sự kiểm soát và chất lượng của những sản phẩm. Like with computer, does it help to keep the quality of products the same, you know? And so when you eat or you consume a drink or food from a factory, you do not have to worry that the product will not, how can I say, live up to the standards you desire. Sometimes it happens, you know, if the quality control is not so good, some products will be defective. It means it can be bad, it's spoiled in there, you know, it doesn't work the way you want, something like that. Now, so of course it helps in quality control production. Think about AI, artificial intelligence. Of course, that is something you must talk about, I think. And think about the fact that everything these days, you can ask an AI and receive the answer. The AI can actually teach you skills, you know. Có thể dùng AI để học được mà. And that can be cheaper than joining classes, something like that. Okay, think about that. And think about the fact that computer technology ensures that to ensure the quality of services, you know, nó đảm bảo chất lượng của những dịch vụ. Think about if you go to the hospital, computer technology will ensure that you receive the right pill, the right drugs. Because there are, of course, there are human error, you know. Có những cái lỗi của con người, con người thì có lỗi thôi. If they are humans, there will be human errors. And that can lead to a lot of death, you know, a lot of people dying. But computer technology, they will help to ensure the quality of services. So less errors will be there. But of course, computer technology can be hacked. The computer can be hacked, you know. And that would be real bad when those situation happens. If something bad happens, people can just blame computer and they do not have to take responsibility for those things, you know, so that's one good thing. Okay, think about that. Now, you have some time to think now. Here we go. All right, so part 2 first, Ms. Thư. Please describe a time when your computer broke down.
So, well, my latest computer breakdown occurred about a few months ago. At that time, I was working on my assignment for my class, and I had been working for hours with my work, and then suddenly my computer screen and my computer shut down out of suddenly, and
You
I
can say it
was
blacked out suddenly, yeah.
blacked out suddenly, and I was really in a panic. And at that time, I tried all the ways I could. I restarted it, and I tried it to, I, and I tried to. I restarted it, and I tried all the things I have heard, but it didn't work. And I was really worried that my assignment, that my work, my files and documents that I had stored would disappear. And at that time, I felt a sense of frustration and helplessness. However, I considered it for a while, and then I decided to tell my mom.
I decided to tell my mother.
To tell my mother, yeah. And I ended up having to take my computer to the repair shop, and the technician eventually fixed the issue. But unfortunately, it took a few days to recover my data. So I at that time I was late for my deadline. It was an unpleasant experience for me.
Of course, it was very unpleasant. Now, so what kinds of people use the computer more then?
Well, I think there are all kinds of people who use the computer. It depends on their personalities, their interest, or their profession.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there are many students there are many students who use the computer as they have to search for the information that they need for their schoolwork, and also the students they also use the computer for entertainment, like such as watching a video or watching TikTok. Um, However, there are many businessmen who use the computer for their work because uh, some people such as investors or um, people who do stock, and they have to use the computer almost all the time
Mm-hmm.
for their work. And also there are it also depends on their personalities and their interests. There are people who like to use the computer to satisfy their own needs, their own purposes. Uh, but for some people, they may not like the idea of using the computer. Uh, Rather than instead, they will try to do other activities like such as reading books or
Reading
walking.
books or just walking or just talking to people,
Yeah. So yeah, it depends on each person.
depends on each person, right? All right. So, do people living in modern countries use the computer more than those living in developing countries?
Well, I think it depends on each country whether either it is modern or developing country.
Mm-hmm.
On the one hand, in modern countries, I think people have greater access to using the computer because in countries who have developed, uh, the demands for computers may be higher than those who living who live in developing countries, and also
The cost.
the cost of producing or importing computers will be much cheaper in modern countries
Mhm.
than in developing countries, as they already have the money to care for those for this
I
aspect of
think I
life.
think the right way to say it is that the developing countries people are much more likely to be able to afford new technology. It's the demand, đó là cái nhu cầu và cái khả năng của họ có khả năng là họ chi trả rất là nhiều hơn cho những công nghệ mới. Well, it's about that. I think that's the right way to say, but of course you are allowed to say to say whatever you think. Remember, IELTS does not ask about your logic, okay? It does not really ask about your knowledge of real life stuff, real life issues. They just ask about how you will be able to speak English well. Anyway, anything else?
Uh, yeah, and in contrast,
In contrast, yeah.
people who live in developing countries, they cannot afford buying the computers, and once they buy once they buy one computer, they probably will use it until it no longer works, and this usually takes about a few years before they actually buy a new one.
Mhm.
But sometimes in developing countries, it means that they are improving their economy. So sometimes people have to use the computer for their work to raise their income. So I think it actually depends on each country, each nation to decide whether their people use the computer more or less.
I see. Now, so what are the methods to prevent children from playing computer or phone games then? Let's assume that they play a lot and it affects their academic performance. Well, that's why this question become relevant, you know. Let's
Yeah.
assume that they play video games a lot, they cannot control themselves, and it affects their academic performance, it affects their how can I say, physical health and sometimes mental health as well. So it's bad for them, clearly. So what are the methods to prevent children from playing computer or phone games then? You cannot just take away their phone just like that. Otherwise, it will be even worse, you know.
Well, I think the best method for me to prevent children from playing computer games is to gradually limit their screen time. For example, when children they are too engrossed in their computer games and they cannot concentrate on anything else. I think
Mhm.
it they should be limited their
They should
I think
limit their
uh, time staring at the screen
mm, but the
gradually.
time staying on the screen sounds like a
Yeah.
good idea.
Um, I think it is a relatively long process. First, you have to limit it from children. They can play computer games for about 6 or 7 hours a day, for example. And then you at the first period in the first few weeks, I think it should be limited to only
Limited,
four
limited.
limited to only 4 hours at maximum. And then gradually, week by week and month by month, it should be limited to only 1 or 2 hours. And also during the process, you should concentrate on their behavior, whether your method is going the right way or not, and you have to control it to be more flexible for your children.
Mhm.
Oh, and also I think to prevent children from playing computer games, I think you should uh, tell them the cases of other children who have suffered severely from playing too much computer games. For example, there are on the internet there are many cases of children who have suffered from serious mental illnesses such as depression or hyperactive, and there are many pictures of those kids. And I think if
As
you show
children,
the children the effects of
the effects of
playing computer games, I think it can be a way to help them avoid playing too much computer games. I think that's my two methods.
I see. So talking about that, do you think it's bad to play computer games? Are there any benefits at all?
Well, in my opinion, I think it is not completely bad to play computer games. And actually, it does have some benefits for people. First, on good sides, I think playing computer games help people to connect uh, to other gamers all around the world. Mm, As once you play games with other people, it is obvious that it is obvious that you already have the common interest, and it is much easier to communicate with these people rather than other who rather than others who do not know who do not who are not on good terms with you.
Mhm.
And also, playing computer games, it does help to improve your
Yes.
critical thinking. Yeah, it
Mhm.
helps to improve your critical thinking. And it is also, and there are many cases of children who play computer games, but not too much, just an adequate amount, and uh, they seem to perform better in maths rather than other students. So if we play computer games in a suitable amount of time, I think it can brings bring out some good some advantages. However, if you overuse this and if you play too much computer games, I think it can negatively affect your social relationships, as you do not concentrate on anything else but your games, and gradually make you become more it will make you become less sociable, and you do not want to talk to other people, but you only want to play your games. And eventually it will destroy completely your real life relationships. So, and of course, playing too much can harm your physical and even mental health. So I think it is playing computer games is not too bad, but it's not too bad if you
It's only
control
bad
it.
if you overdo it, eh?
Yeah, if you know how to control it.
Interesting. Now, so does computer technology benefit mankind anyway?
Yeah, I absolutely. I think that computer technology does benefit mankind in many ways. Uh, as a matter of fact, in this modern world, people rely heavily on computer technology to look for information. You just need a click on your you just need a click, and then all the information you want will be
Will be
available for you.
available at a click of a
Yeah.
button, right?
Yes.
At the
Uh,
click
yeah.
of
And it
wait,
is
at a click of a mouse. Actually, at a how can I say at a push of a button. It's actually a saying, but now these days we don't push buttons anymore. We just type on our computer and we click on our mouse, but people can still use that saying, you know, at a click of a sorry, at a push of a button. So what else can you say?
and uh,
Think about what I just said about production. Can we produce like mass produce items at a cheap price if we keep hiring people? Actually,
yeah.
using computer technology, you can reduce costs a lot, you know? So that helps to reduce the price of products down. So it means that the poor people will be able to afford a lot of things that they cannot do, they cannot afford previously.
Yeah. However, I think computer technology it does mm, uh, there will be a problem of unemployment will arise due to computer technology as um, as the effectiveness and the speed of computer technology, many companies and industries they will prioritize computers instead of human forces, labor forces. So I think in many places, uh, people will face the problem of joblessness, and it can cause a great number of problems to many people as they cannot earn enough money for to care for themselves and their family.
Interesting point that you just made. So, what else can you mention? Beside from the benefits, there are of course a lot of disadvantages too. Like think about the amount of people, the number of people that can lose their jobs due to the advance of AI, artificial intelligence. What do you think about it? You can also talk about that in this question, to make it longer.
Yeah. Um, um, Besides that, computer technology can cause a lot of troubles if if it is hacked. Mm, for example, when a company is mass producing and their whole their whole computer system is hacked, it can cause a disruption in the process, and
Mhm.
the products may not and the customers they may not receive the products in time, and I think this computer shutdown or hack it can um, cause the companies or the industries a huge sum of money and affecting both the managers, the bosses, and also the people who work in the company.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, of course, AI has already affected a lot of people. You can see that a lot of people are losing their job these days, especially in developing countries, and then it's really, really hard to go back into like, you know, the workforce if you already like getting sacked. If you got lost your job, it can take months, or if I'm not saying years, it's brutal. But what can we say? Now, so let's move on to the next topic now. That is number 8. Let's do number 9. It's about puzzle. So describe a puzzle you have completed, like in particular, jigsaw, crossword, Sudoku. So something like a puzzle, that you have to find the answer for. Because some people, they may misunderstand this question. They may say, it's the puzzle of my life. You shouldn't say that, because here they already particularly they specify that it's jigsaw or crossword or Sudoku or something like that. Miêu tả một cái trò giải đố mà bạn đã hoàn thành, nó phải là cái gì đó giống như là ờ, xếp hình, hay là giải ô chữ, hay Sudoku, hay cái gì giống vậy đó, chứ không phải là giải đố cuộc đời tôi something like that, you know. So describe a puzzle you have completed. You should say what it is like, how easy or difficult it is, how long it takes you to solve that puzzle, and explain how you feel about it. And part 3 of puzzles, okay? What kind of puzzles are popular in your country? And you should also talk about the reason why they are popular. Like, You know, puzzle is different from board games, you know. It's not the same thing. Board game does not ask you to find the answer. No, it doesn't. It's different from playing chess or international chess or Chinese chess. Different, you know, it's not the same thing. So think about Sudoku. Think about crossword and jigsaw, of course. And other kind of puzzle, I'm not so sure because I don't complete puzzles, you know. And you should also talk about like why they are popular. What age group do they attract? Hấp dẫn nhóm tuổi nào? And why? And then should parents encourage their children to play with puzzles? And why should they do that? Does it help them with their logic? Does it help them to be motivated, you know? Because sometimes when you achieve something, there's a clear sense of achievement that you can have when you complete puzzles together with improving your logic, together with other things, you know. Okay, what kind of puzzles improve people's intelligence? Loại ô chữ, loại giải đố nào làm cải thiện trí thông minh con người? And why do people enjoy solving puzzles? Tại sao con người thích giải ô chữ, giải đố? Well, I'm sure you know the answer for this. So, some time to think. All right, let's do this number 9 now. Describe a puzzle you have completed, please.
So, recently I have completed a puzzle with my friends at a birthday party. Well, actually, we didn't plan to solve this puzzle, but we but eventually it was a birthday gift, so we decided to try it for the first time. So at first I didn't think it was hard. It was a jigsaw puzzle, and it was a large picture of an animal, of a dog, and it took us a really long time to solve it. I think about 2 or 2.5 hours to actually complete this puzzle, and it took all people at the birthday party to solve it. It was an extremely difficult one for me, and when I actually when me and my friend when I and my friends have completed this puzzle, we felt a sense of achievement, and I love the mysteries, and I really like that it helps me to improve my problem solving skills, and it helps me to improve my critical thinking as well. And I think this puzzle it not only requires my thinking, but it also provides me a sense of relaxation for me and for my friends as well. So I think when I have a chance, I will probably buy some more jigsaw puzzles for me at home
So,
to play on my own.
okay, good now. So, what kind of puzzles are popular in your country and why?
Well, there are many kinds of puzzles that are popular in my country. It There are famous puzzles such as Sudoku, crossword, and jigsaw puzzles, or yeah, some those kind of puzzles. And I think they are most popular among the young age groups, like children, and also they are also popular with many old people. I think the reason why it is popular, it helps children to improve their analytical thinking, and it helps them to it can serve as a tool to relax, to meet their demands of entertainment for the children rather than using the technological devices. And for old people, they it's also, I think the puzzles also serve the same way as they do with the children. And I think doing puzzles, you can people can do them alone or with other people. And when they do puzzles with other people, I think it can help to build relationships with others uh, when you play this game together. And I think it can be really good to play puzzles.
I see. So, should parents encourage their children to play with puzzles?
Well, definitely. I think that it is a good way. It is really good when parents encourage their children to play with puzzles. The first reason is that I think when children are encouraged to play with puzzles, it will help them to improve their cognitive thinking, and
You mean cognitive ability,
yeah, cognitive ability,
khả
and
năng nhận thức. Yeah.
it helps them to like sharpen their mind,
To
like
sharpen their mind, right? I was
yeah,
like shopping. No, it's sharpen. It
sharpen.
sharpen their minds. Okay. What else then?
Uh, and I think it can be a really good. It can do the children good in their for their future. And the second reason is that I think playing with puzzles, it will help children to mm, uh, I think it will save the parents a lot of free time, as they have a lot of work to do, and when their children play are busy with puzzles and solving them and busy with solving them, I think parents will have more time to complete their work and to clean the house or do some housework. So I think it
Housework.
is. I think parents should encourage their children to play with puzzles.
I see. Okay, so what kind of puzzles improve people's intelligence then?
Well, I think that all kinds of puzzles improve people's intelligence, but they improve, uh, they improve it in different ways. For example, some puzzles like crossword or Sudoku, I think it helps to relieve stress and to improve people's it helps to improve people's critical thinking, as they have think to think really hard to
Actually, one way to answer this question is that I do not believe that any kind of puzzles cannot make people more intelligent. You know, you can think of it that way, you know, like all the puzzles, like you said, help improve cognitive ability and help people to sharpen their mind. Yes. Um, so this question can be answered in a very similar way to the previous one. So let's try another one. So why do people enjoy solving puzzles? Like there are a lot of more activities, but why solving puzzles give people some kind of like why do people just enjoy doing it, you know? Even though sometimes it does not give them any gifts or give them any kind of benefits, immediate benefits, you know. Lợi ích tức thời. Like, for example, when you were younger, you solve math, right? Math exercises. Sometimes I still do enjoy solving math exercises, especially hard ones, because when I find a way to solve it, it's really great. It's a sense of achievement. It's like you manage to reach a higher level, a higher threshold in your own ability, đạt được một cái mức độ cao hơn nhiều về khả năng của bản thân á. A higher threshold in your ability. You feel that sense of achievement. You feel like you have succeeded in doing something. And that's when you have a dopamine, it's like a dopamine rush, you know. Dopamine is basically, it's pronounced like dopamine with an E at the end. Dopamine is a hormone that is produced from the brain that it gives you happiness. It gives you a sense of achievement, you know. And also sometimes serotonin as well. It's also another hormone in the brain that is responsible for happiness. Đó là hormone hạnh phúc trong não. Dopamine là hormone tình yêu, nhưng mà nó cũng là cái sự mà gọi là hứng khởi, hứng thú. Dopamine is also about excitement as well. So solving puzzle and solving math homework is very similar in that sense, because it both gives people like a lot of enjoyment, you know. So what do you say? Why do people enjoy solving puzzles then?
Well, I think because it brings about immediate benefits, about entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I think they can help to improve people's mood. Puzzles increase the production of dopamine and
In the brain, yes.
yeah, in the brain, and it is it can also be known. It can also be described as excitement, and
Mm-hmm.
it is released when we successfully solve the puzzles. So definitely it can improve your mood immediately.
Okay.
And also it can have far-reaching effects,
Sorry, what kind of effect is that?
long-term effects.
Long-term effects, right? Right.
Yeah.
What kind of long-term effect is that? Long-term effects, like for example, it improves people intelligence. That is a long-term effect, and also, you know, it makes people feel that there are some fun in life. You know, because solving puzzle actually gives you a small victory. It's like a small victory if you succeeded. If you succeed in doing something, it's just a small victory, and everyone wants that. You know, once in a while, they always want that. Okay, now that's number 9. Okay, let's see, what else do we have here? Now let's do number 15. Describe a kind of weather you like. You should say what it is, where you go in this weather, what you do in this weather, and explain why you like it. And then part 3 of weather. What do people wear in different weather and why? Con người ta mặc gì trong nhiều thời tiết khác nhau, tại sao? Think about like in rainy weather, in cold weather, what do people wear? And during hot weather, hot summer, how about spring, and then the autumn. And then how does the weather influence people's life? Think about how people can go to work when it's raining a lot, you know. Think about the fact that if it's too hot, also people do not want to go out and businesses can suffer because of that. And when it rains, the same thing. Like nobody really wants to go out and hang out with their friends when it's too hot or when it's like really raining all the time, you know, and they can get sick. So that can influence people's activity and businesses. And think about production, of course, agriculture, of course. Agriculture is extremely vulnerable to any kind of climatic changes, you know. Cực kỳ là dễ bị ảnh hưởng, cái nông nghiệp rất cực kỳ ảnh hưởng bởi những cái sự thay đổi về thời tiết luôn á. Like think about their crop yield. Think about crop yield, sản lượng nông nghiệp, sản lượng cây trồng. And think about also about the quality of their products, of produce, the quality of their produce as well. Chất lượng của sản vật nông nghiệp in different weather. Okay. And of course, the weather can also lead to insects, bugs, pests, you know. Like for example, when it rains a bit like this, and when it always rains during like the evening or sometime early morning like this, there are a lot of mosquitoes, you know, and that can lead to illnesses, serious illnesses. Like you should know about dengue fever, dengue fever, sốt huyết, dengue fever. It's called dengue fever. We should talk about malaria. Malaria là sốt rét. But I think malaria, people get it more in the forest compared to in the city. In the city, people often get dengue fever much more. You know, there are 4 types. So it means that you can get affected by dengue fever at least like 4 times in your life. And then each time it gets even more dangerous, you know. So be very careful, kill mosquitoes more, you know, spray more, you know. Xịt thuốc nhiều hơn, giết muỗi nhiều hơn. Wow. And then think about, of course, when it's really sunny, when it's really sunny, there's no raining, it can affect the water level, the water reserves, you know. Water reserve as a noun, nguồn dự trữ nước. It can affect the water reserves very badly. Like for example, you know what happened during April, right? Very, very, very hot weather. And Vietnam experienced a very bad situation with electricity. The loss of electricity, there's a power cut all the time. Cúp điện. There's a lot of power cut all the time because there's not enough water to run the hydroelectric power stations. Những trạm thủy điện. To run the hydroelectric power station, or you can say hydro mean water, thủy, electric điện, hydroelectric dams, những cái đập thủy điện á. Think about those. Without enough raining, there's not enough water to run those dams, you know, to run those dams effectively or efficiently. Phải dùng chữ efficiently, hiệu quả mới đúng, mà hiệu suất cao mới đúng. All right, think about what else. How people travel, you know, during like different weather. If it's snowy, it's almost impossible to travel by roads, you know, but you can travel by airplane. Lúc trời tuyết thì gần như không thể nào đi bằng đường bộ được luôn nha. Khó lắm, nguy hiểm nè. It's dangerous and it's difficult. So people travel by plane more. Người ta đi bằng xe máy bay hơn. Okay. And then next question, why are weather forecasts often unreliable? Tại sao mấy cái dự báo thời tiết thường không có đáng tin? Well, good question to think about, yeah. Think about the fact that there are so many factors that can affect the weather, the formation of a storm, or a formation of, let's say, a monsoon, áp thấp. Sự tạo thành của bão, sự tạo thành của áp thấp, it's affected by many factors, you know, like such as humidity, độ ẩm, such as precipitation, lượng mưa. It means the amount of rainfall. Precipitation is a word that we use in weather, you know, the amount of rainfall, lượng mưa. Think about wind speed, tốc độ gió. Think about wind speed and the wind direction. Hướng gió đó nha. It can influence a lot. Like for example, if you forecast like a week before that a city there will be raining, but then suddenly the wind changes its directions, then there won't be any rain at all in that city, you know. Lỡ đâu tôi forecast một tuần trước là cái thành phố này sẽ có mưa, nhưng tự nhiên bất thình lình hướng gió nó đổi một phát thôi, lúc đó mày đi chỗ khác, nó sẽ không mưa ở chỗ đó nữa. Like a lot of things can affect the formation of weather. So that's why weather forecasts are often unreliable. And also think about the fact that how can I say, there are other factors that can affect, like for example, solar winds, gió mặt trời, solar storm, solar winds, you know. And think about the tide, thủy triều, because the tide and the moon can also affect the you know, the water going up and down, and affect the humidity, you know, nó ảnh hưởng độ ẩm á. Tại vì chiều lên chiều xuống độ ẩm nha. And of course a lot of things, lots of factors. Okay, so are there any festivals about seasons in your country? Có bất kỳ lễ hội nào về mùa ở đất nước bạn không? According to my knowledge, is about 4,000 different festivals about season in your country, in my country, Vietnam. Well, think about mid-autumn. Think about what people eat, what people wear, and something like that. Think about in winter we have Christmas, of course, and during the summer, what do we have? No, I think more normally we have music festival, right? In the summer, in the spring we have what's it called? We have a lot of spring festivals, flower festivals, you know, in the spring, something like that. And think about what people celebrate, what people wear, what people eat and drink, something like that, you know. All right, you have some time to think now. Okay, now Miss Tu, please describe a kind of weather that you like.
So I'm going to talk about.
Please speak louder or move near to the microphone, please.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, but your voice is a bit tiny, you know.
Yeah, okay, I'll try to speak louder.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about my favorite kind of weather, which is the late winter. It usually begins in December and continues until the end of February, although it only lasts about for 2 or 3 months. The weather is worth the wait, and since in this period of time, My city is really cold and humid, and it actually is my favorite of all seasons. And during this time, uh, the weather is usually humid and sometimes extremely cold with
Mhm.
occasional rains. The reason I like this kind of weather is because I can dress up really well in my winter outfits, and I have more chances to hang out with my friends because we have more free time in the winter. And also, not to mention, this time of the year, there are many festivals such as Christmas or Lunar New Year, and the festive atmosphere in these months always brightens up my trivial daily life.
Mhm.
And I think the late winter uh, in my city, especially in my city, is undoubtedly a signature feature of the north of Vietnam, and
Okay.
I think it will remain my favorite for a long time.
Okay, very good. Now let's move on to part three of weather. So what do people wear in different weather, Miss Thư?
Well, in different weathers, people wear different outfits. Uh, it can be due to the season, in particular. For example, in spring, people in spring people often wear in in people because the weather is still a
It's
bit.
mild. It's still a bit cold, yeah, and
Yeah,
chilly.
yeah. So people often wear like trousers and long sleeves shirt, but not
Long
sweaters.
sleeve shirt. Very good.
Yeah, but not sweaters or many layers of clothes. And when it is summer, people often choose to wear shorts or t-shirts with shorter sleeves because the weather is really hot during this time. And winter, I think people in I think in winter in autumn, people wear the same as they do in spring, as I as the weather in these two seasons. I think they are pretty similar. However, in winter, people often choose to wear thick layers of clothes, and they will choose to wear scarves or shoes
Yes,
in order to keep their bodies warm
mm-hmm.
against the weather. So,
Exactly.
yeah. So, in different weathers, people choose to wear various different things.
Okay,
How
so how does the weather influence people's life? It's a big question.
Well, I think the weather influences people's life in various ways. For example, when the weather is too severe, uh, when it's too hot or it's
Severe? You
too,
mean when the weather is too extreme,
yeah, yeah,
I think the right word is extreme because it's too hot or too cold that is extreme. Chúng ta không có
yeah,
nói là thời tiết nó quá là nghiêm trọng, chúng ta nói là thời tiết rất là nó kịch tính hoặc là nó gọi là nó quá mức cái gì đó, quá nóng quá lạnh là extreme nha. It's the right word. It's the right to say extreme weather.
yeah. Okay. So when the weather is too extreme, people's life will be disrupted because of the weather, of the terrible weather. People will hesitate to go outside and hang out with friends. Rather than that, they will stay at home and probably text with their friends rather than have any face-to-face conversation. And also when people have to go to when people have to travel and it rains too heavily, it will be hard for people. It will be really troublesome for people to move in this kind of weather. So it's probably that they will be late for their appointment or their work. And in addition, um,
Okay, imagine what I just told you about agriculture, yeah?
yeah, and many places uh, with agriculture, though if the weather is too hot, they will not have enough water to
Yes.
they will not have enough water to uh, take care of their crops, and as a result, it will be really vulnerable. It will be too
Mhm.
weak to it will be too weak to like resist the kind of weather, and therefore it is likely that the crops will be destroyed, or they do not live up to the farmers' expectations,
Mhm.
and I think it can decrease cost, the cost of the products that they sell.
Okay, very well now. So, why are weather forecasts often unreliable then?
Well, I think it can be contribute to many factors. For example, it can depend on humidity or precipitation or wind speed or direction. And also in many places, the the technology to forecast weather, they are not modern, and sometimes they will have errors in forecasting the upcoming weather.
Yes.
So it is hard to rely on such weather forecasts. Um, and also, there are many cases when people forecast the weather a week earlier than the event.
Mm-hmm.
And but when it actually happens, it is not what they have predicted,
Mm-hmm.
because it relies on many elements, and sometimes people just cannot predict the actions of nature. So I think this is why weather forecasts are not really reliable.
Mm-hmm. I see. Are there any festivals about season in your country?
Well, in my country, there are like 100 festivals about seasons. Each season has their own festivals. For example, in spring, there are many spring festivals or flower festivals to to celebrate the start of a year, to and to
Yes.
wish people a happy and a healthy year.
Mm-hmm.
Also in summer, as people as uh, and in summer there are many music festivals, because students they have
I'm not so
uh,
sure if music festival belong to the summer, but is often there, you know, because in the summer
Yeah.
people would love to go out and enjoy the
Yeah.
weather, you know. So maybe, yeah, it's a summer festival, okay.
Yeah, and in winter there is a very famous festival which is called Mid-Autumn Festival, and it is extremely popular with children. As in this festival, have the chance to uh, the chance to see uh, fireworks or to celebrate with their friends. So, and in the last season of the year, in my country, they also celebrate Christmas. And people often hang out with their families or their friends to celebrate Christmas Eve and also uh, offer each other's presents for this festival. So I think these are the festivals about seasons in my country currently.
Okay, great. Okay, so that's about it. And number 15, right? Yes, this is 15. Correct. I don't think you have done 16 yet. Now, if yes, I would have written it over here. So describe something important that has been kept in your family for a long time. This is going to be 16 for you. So it can be anything. It can be a watch. It can be, I don't know, tablewares, you know. Sometimes people keep tablewares like silver spoon, cups, you know, cups and chopsticks, those things that, you know, they bought it like decades ago, many years ago. Or sometimes they keep, like, of course, they will keep furnitures for many long time, for many years. Think about many objects that were made in the past. They were made to last. They were really made to last. Chúng được tạo ra để mà nó tồn tại rất là lâu á. So family often keep them for a long time. So you should say what it is, when your family had it, how your family got it, explain why it's important to your family. So there has to be a meaning behind it or something like that, you know. Like for example, people often keep jewelry, you know, jewelry. Like when they get married, you know, people often buy jewelry, and because jewelry basically is precious, when something happens, they can sell the jewelry and they will be okay, you know. But normally jewelry means marriage, so that's why it's important to the family, I think. Okay, part 3 of valuable items. So what things do family keep for a long time? I already told you. And you should also talk about a reason why they can keep those objects or items for a long time. You know, people back then, they don't buy items that, they don't buy and replace items that quickly like these days, you know, because object back then, they were made to last a long time. But look at these objects these days. Like, for example, if you buy a table, it's made only to last for a few years, maximum like 10, 20 years, maybe. But normally, if water gets into it, it is destroyed. Mấy cái bàn gỗ MDF á, trời ơi, nó thiệt luôn, nó nước vô một phát là hư. Well, so it's not even real wood, you know, those tables and chair that it's sold for so cheap online, you know. Now, what's the difference between things valued by people in the past and today? So it's the verb to value someone or something. Trọng giá trị cái gì đó hoặc ai đó. Có sự khác biệt gì với những thứ mà được trọng giá trị bởi người trong quá khứ và ngày nay không? So in the past, what do people value? Of course, people value a car, fancy car. They value a big house. They value a TV, fridges, or anything that they can buy for a lot of money. That's what they value. But these days, how about now? What do they value? Of course, they value the how can I say? They don't exactly value those things anymore. You can talk about that. If you don't know exactly what people value today, you can just say that people no longer value the things in the past, and you can mention that, Nếu mình không biết được rõ là bây giờ người ta value cái gì, người ta trọng giá trị cái gì, mình sẽ nói là bây giờ người ta không còn trọng giá trị những cái đồ trong quá khứ đó, rồi mình liệt kê lý do tại sao. Yeah, you can do that. Okay, but I can give you a few ideas. Like these days, people actually value they buy gold, they buy jewelry, they still do that. Còn người ta vẫn mua vàng, vẫn mua nữ trang, nam trang, trang sức các thứ nha. And of course, they put everything valuable like that into the safe, vào két sắt. Of course, people buy land, buy houses. Those things are still valuable, of course. Mua nhà đương nhiên, mua đất, mua nhà đương nhiên là valuable rồi. So they keep papers. They keep papers that is related to those things, of course. What else? Okay, so what kind of things are kept in museums? Những thứ nào được giữ trong bảo tàng? Think about what I put on display. You already know the answer for this one. And what is the influence of technology on museums? Think about 3D technology. 3D technology. We can reanimate historical events. Chúng ta có thể tái hiện lại những sự kiện lịch sử through 3D technology, or you can use AI, of course, these days. And basically, people do not have to stare. People do not have to stare at immobile objects anymore. Con người ta không phải cứ nhìn chằm chằm vào những cái vật thể không chuyển động trong một museum, because now you have 3D technology, you can reanimate historical events, things that happened in the past, And also, you do not have to hire the guide, Không cần phải thuê cái người mà hướng dẫn viên du lịch nữa. You do not need guide anymore because machines can do that for you now. However, to ensure that the customers go into the right place, to ensure the security of the place, you still need human, of course. Because technology, they fail all the time, you remember? Công nghệ nó có thể nó fail bất kỳ lúc nào nha. Technology can fail almost all the time if you want to. If something bad happens, ví dụ sao thủy nghịch hành chẳng hạn, things can happen. Okay, so think about that, and also think about the fact that spending money on technology means you cut the cost of operation. To cut the cost of operation. Cắt giảm chi phí vận hành of museums, and that will decrease the entrance fee. Nó sẽ giảm cái entrance fee, cái phí mà vào cổng của mấy cái museum. What else? And also, because of that, people are even more attracted to museum because of that, And it can help people to teach history better. Giúp con người ta dạy lịch sử tốt hơn nha. Làm con người ta hứng thú hơn, and make people more interested in history. Okay, so think about that. All right, you have some time now. Okay, number 16. Let's describe something important that has been kept in your family for a long time then, please.
So, an important item that has been kept in my family for a long time is a piece of jewelry, a necklace, a gold necklace. And it has been kept in my family for many generations. Actually, my great grandmother received it as a gift from her mother-in-law, and it has been passed down in the family since. My grandmother and then my mother, they both, and now my mother is wearing it now. And once my brother gets married, it will be passed down to his wife as an inheritance. And the reason why it is important to my family was because it is considered it has sentimental value.
Mm-hmm.
It marks the connection of family, the bond of family. When someone outside the family comes and be a member, be a part of your big family, and that is when the necklace serves its purpose. It it is a connection to the members of the family. So I think this necklace is of much importance to my family, and I think it will, and I think we will keep it for a really long time later, passed down to many generations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what things do families keep for a long time then?
Well, I think there are many different kind of things that families keep for a long time. They can be um, physical items such as
Physical items.
jewelry or houses or mm, tables or chairs. Mm, but there are also some there are
Yes.
also some some intangible items, uh, such as songs or such as songs or poems passed down it to families.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, And I think whatever kinds of items that families keep, I think they all have their own uh, meanings. They all serve as as important. They all have importance value to their families themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I think I think they will probably continue to be kept for a longer time when to
A long
later
amount of time,
generations.
you mean?
Yeah, later generations, children and grandchildren, Yeah, like
So what's the difference between things valued by people in the past and today then?
mm, well, I think in the past people valued things such as cars, mm, houses or TVs or even or even items that have uh, cars, houses, and TVs. Um, because I think in the past they were of great value to many people.
Mm-hmm.
They they assured people to have a wealthy life and to and it helped people to afford whatever they wanted in their life. And nowadays, I think people value many value people also value those kind of things, and put an
Yes.
emphasis on they also pay attention to jewelry or land because or gold, for example. Because the nowadays the price is unpredictable, and keeping this if they can sell it at an appropriate period of time, they probably will earn a lot of money for themselves. So I think uh, there is not many differences between things valued in the past and today, but I think people nowadays they have a preference for uh, jewelry and land.
Okay. So, what kinds of things are kept in museums then?
Well, in museums nowadays there are all kinds of things that are kept there. It, they can be historical artifacts or paintings from famous artists or even museums about technology, about artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, but I think mainly nowadays they are museums that uh, the museums that contain historical artifacts are the most popular, as as this kind of museums have has been uh, has been around for many years, and it they provide people with a great amount of knowledge about the past, about history. But also nowadays people they do have the needs for art and technology as the world is developing in many ways. So there are also many museums paintings that keep paintings from famous artists, both in the past and at present, to meet the people's
Mm-hmm.
needs
I
for
see.
yeah
And
for
also, it helps people to learn history in a better way, I think. All of them, they do play a role. Okay, so what is the influence of technology in museums then?
well, technology can has a great
Influence.
influence on museums. For example, thanks to technology, there are many museums which can reanimate historical events. People can see directly the events happening right in front of their eyes, rather than just look at immobile objects from the
Immobile,
past,
immobile.
mobile objects from the past. And I think it can greatly help them to remember the events better,
Mhm.
and to memorize the events when they even long after they have visited the museums,
Mhm.
because people often remember better when it comes to their vision. Moreover, technology on museums helps to reduce the cost of operation, as technology has done most parts of operation, so museums do not have to hire the guide the guide to
Like
help.
they do not have to hire tour
Yeah,
guides, to
yeah,
help tourists or helps people,
yeah, and it can it can reduce the costs of giving the tour guides salary, and also operating the technology probably demands much less effort than dealing with people.
Mhm.
And this can help to reduce the entrance fees for visitors, and this will definitely attract more people to come to visit the museums.
Mhm. Okay, good enough. We can end it here. All right, so it's good for today now. Very good.